Welcome back to the 2 Minute Warning. It's been a while. Jay and I both been pretty busy, but I'm glad to be back today talking about the Cleveland Browns, a team that I can't really explain why, but I just want to see succeed really badly. So I want the best for the Browns, and today I'm going to be looking at whether or not Baker Mayfield is the future of this franchise. Definitely something that we've looked at several times in the past, but as we get nearer and nearer to contract time for him, this question's got to be answered. The Browns are going to have to move off of him. Of course, they have him through next year on the fifth-year option, so I guess it's not quite contract time. But you're always their front office should obviously is evaluating everything he does. So that is what I'm going to be looking at today. Before we get into the video, question of the day. Currently sitting at 5-5 in one of the better divisions, the AFC North in football. Are the Browns going to make the playoffs this year? Comment your answer down below, and you will hear my answer at the end of the video. Is Baker Mayfield the answer for the Browns? Based off how this season has gone, no. Of course, you can't pin everything on him. Yes, Nick Chubb has been injured. He had COVID last week when they got routed by Mac Jones and the Patriots. So maybe that game's different if they have Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt's been injured some this year. Their defense is not quite living up to what it should be. Now, Myles Garrett is, at least as of last week, was leading the league in sacks. I'm not sure what him and TJ Watt did as far as sacks this past week, but they were neck and neck. But anyway, Jadeveon Clowney's been hurt. Their defense is not being as locked down as they should. Their offense, like I said, injuries in the backfield, but Baker himself has not been sharp. Here you see on the screen his stats, 2021 this year. He's only got 9 touchdowns through 10 games. Now, obviously, he's not a big passing touchdown guy. They utilize their talented backfield in the red zone effectively, so that's not a huge surprise. The 4 interceptions, that's obviously a good number to be halfway through or over halfway through the season with only 4 interceptions. Based off of that number, he's on pace for 7 or 8 this season. That's pretty good, but not paired with that touchdown ratio. So we'll give credit to Baker right there where he deserves it. Not turning the ball over a lot, but I know there has been some key turnovers that he has costed the team a potential win. The first game that comes to mind there is the Week 1 game against Kansas City. A late interception in the game seals the game for the Chiefs. A Browns team that should have won that game. The Chiefs obviously turn out to, up till this point in the season, not be as good as they were last year. So that was definitely a winnable game for the Browns. There's been several games this year that I think they should have won. The Chargers game being one of them. Now, that was a 100-something point or 98, whatever. The score was like 48-45 or whatever it was. A lot of combined points. It was a shootout. It obviously could have gone either way. But the Chargers did play some questionable. The Browns did play some questionable football at the end. Didn't pull that win off. The Chiefs, like I said, they should have won that game. They lose a 15-10 game to the Steelers. Should have been theirs, and they lose a game not even competitively at all to the Cardinals and the Patriots. So they've lost a lot of games that they should have been at least in contention to win. The one win they have this year that is impressive is they beat the Bengals by 30 points, a team that was the top seed in the AFC North at that point. So the Browns have been struggling. Is it Baker's fault? Not completely. Obviously, like I said, not 100% pinnable on Baker Mayfield, but he just seems to be a glorified game manager. And I've said this before in the past that is a good thing, that's what he needs to do is avoid the turnovers and just make smart throws and let his backfield do the work. But it seems to me that it needs to be a little more than that because right now that is what he's doing. He's throwing for less than a touchdown a game. He's only turning the ball over 4 times this year, which is basically what I said he needed to do for the Browns to succeed was be a glorified game manager, be smart, and make the conservative play and give Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt the chance to do it all. Well, apparently that's not going to be enough. So it seems like the Browns need somebody that's going to be able to do a little more than that, and I just don't think Baker Mayfield is the guy. I really want it to be. I really want him to get the $28-30 million that I think would be reasonable for the Browns to give him for a secondary contract after his rookie one is expired. So I want to be the guy for Cleveland, but I just don't think he is because this is my main point for why they need to do something else because with this roster, this team should not be 500. This team should not be a questionable playoff position. This team should be 7-2 right now or 7-3 up there with the top seeds in the AFC, which I guess right now is the Titans, but the Ravens are 6-3, looking very good. The Titans are good. The Chiefs are going to probably be a top seed, so they need to be right neck and neck with those teams, and they are not. I mean, you guys know who's on the Browns rosters, but defensively they're stacked. Offensively they're stacked. Receivers, the backfield, Myles Garrett on defense, and then of course you get Troy Hill, you got Denzel Ward, you get John Johnson, and on the offensive side of the ball, you lose OBJ. That's not a huge hit. They don't have a number one receiver per se now, but you still got Jarvis Landry. You got Peoples-Jones, who's turning out to be pretty good. You got young Anthony Schwartz. You got Austin Hooper. You got David Njoku. There's guys to throw the football to on this team. Baker's just not doing as much as should be being done with this roster, and that is why I say he is not going to be the answer for the Browns. Like I said, the Browns still owe him $18 million through 2022 on that fifth-year option, so it's not necessarily time to kick him out right now. And there's just been so many situations, and that's kind of what I'm going to get ready to say next, is the next upcoming games for this. If he can win a certain amount of them, then maybe he's the answer. But that situation's been in the past, and it just keeps on dragging on, and Baker is just not seeming to be enough for this Browns team. His leadership is questionable. Like I said, there's just so much potential with this roster that he needs to be taking advantage of. Now, with the upcoming games for the Browns, 7 remaining games. Like I said, they're 5-5, a 17-game season this year. You got the Lions, the Ravens, then a bye, then the Ravens again, then the Raiders, Packers, Steelers, and then ending the season with a divisional matchup. The last 2 games, the Steelers and Bengals. So realistically, a bare minimum 10 wins are going to be needed for this Browns team to make the playoffs in a division like theirs in the AFC, which is very competitive. Right now, there's no clear outlier in the AFC for, wow, this team is fantastic. If there is one, it's Tennessee, but I'm not sold on them completely. So the AFC is very competitive, but the AFC North is going to have 4 teams, probably 4 teams that are playoff caliber-ish. So the Browns are going to need 10 wins minimum to win their division and make the playoffs, or not even win their division, but make the playoffs. And that's going to require 5 of these last 7 games to be won. 4 of them are divisional, and the Browns right now have only one win in the division. They've only played 2 games, but they're just their work is cut out for them, and they just don't look like a team right now that can handle it. Like I said, they're not going to sweep the Ravens. They're more likely to get swept by Baltimore than they are to sweep. So we'll say they split with Baltimore, they split with Steelers, which means they win the last game against them, and maybe they can pull off a sweep against the Bengals the way the first game went. So that's 3 wins out of their last 7, and then you got to beat the Lions. And then you got a Raiders and Packers team that the Raiders are pretty unpredictable, but obviously do have some offensive firepower, and the Packers right now are the number 1 seed in the NFC. So the Browns, like I said, have their work cut out for them in the last 7 weeks of the season. Going to need Baker to win 5 of these last 7 games minimum. And like I said, that's going to be against some very good teams, some very tough divisional games. Baker's going to have to prove that he is up to the task, because right now I think it's – I say right now, if it were time tomorrow to decide if the Browns should offer him an extension, the answer's got to be no for me. Like I said, he's got some time to prove things, and now I'm not going to downplay what Baker's done for this organization. He got their first playoff appearance in 20 years. He beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh, which is not an easy thing to do. Gave them their first playoff win, and they were a couple plays or one play going their way to an AFC Championship appearance. So Baker has obviously done a lot for this program, so I don't think it's going to be an easy choice for them to want to move off of him. But I think the way that this season is going for Cleveland and Baker, that they need to. Derek Carr is looking to be his situation in Oakland, in Vegas. He's likely to be out of there soon. Of course, Aaron Rodgers is going to be leaving Green Bay. Deshaun Watson on the market. There's options for who could be the next quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, and like I said, they have time to decide. Baker's going to be with them through next year on that 5th-year option, so there is time to decide. But right now, I just don't see what I want to see from a guy that like Baker Mayfield, that should be doing more with that roster there in Cleveland. So comment down below what you think about my opinion, but I just don't think Baker's going to be the answer, as much as I like the guy, as much as I like the organization with him right now. Back to the question of the day: are the Browns going to make the playoffs? This is going to have to be a no for me. The way I've seen them play, the way I've seen them lose games that they shouldn't be losing, the way that I've seen them not play competitively against very good teams, I think the Browns are going to finish 9-8. And in the AFC, especially in the AFC North, that is just not going to cut it. Unfortunately, you Browns fans, I think, are going to be regressing from last year and missing the playoffs. I hope you're in. Like I said, I'm rooting for Baker and the Browns, but I just don't see it happening. Guys, that's all for the video. Thanks for watching. 2-minute warning.